Dobson, and we are here Starbucks. Or if you're around, drop the StreamYard link. Yeah. Too bad to the pinagsabi was not here anymore. Happened. StreamYard link. Oh, Brett is here. Hey, Brett. Hi, Brett. How you doing, Brett? Now I will increase the volume here and side. Still really. Oh, he disconnect.
Yeah.
Oh, there he is.
Oh, he disconnect. He's 5G. He's supposed to push the boy for 5G.
I cannot hear you very well, Sean, because I don't have.
You guys started
Where
without
is
me,
he?
didn't you?
Oh, wait. I'll just put an earphone, okay, so I can hear you very well.
Yeah, yeah. Y'all started without me, didn't you? Ugh. Ah, crap. Ugh. Is there anybody in the chat? Hey, Brett, do you hear me? I think Sheer doesn't have signal. I'm guessing. If anybody can hear me, please tell me in the chat. Okay, Brett, I guess I'll keep it going for Sheer. I don't know how to draw. But Sheer is meeting up with everybody, hopefully. I'm glad somebody started to do a live stream about it. But I'm going to stay here until Sheer comes back or she gets some kind of signal. All I know is a lot of them run off data. If I was there with Darren, I have unlimited data, and I'm signed up for the Philippines and Canada. That means I can call to and from. If I was in the Philippines, I can call out of there as the same as I could in Canada and the United States. I set that up long ago, back in, I think it was in 2012. I set that up. Verizon don't offer it anymore, but I was grandfathered in, meaning as long as I keep this account active, they can't take it from me. It's Mode. You drove for Swift? I mean, at one time, Swift was pretty bad with a safety record, but they've improved considering their size. They took over Celadon. When they took over Celadon, that they grew by a quarter at least, because Celadon was pretty big. You drove for Prime Inc. That's who I pull for right now. I'm an owner op. I'm thinking about taking WWE up on their offer because they keep calling me. I mean, I could stay with Prime, but I can take my truck anywhere and go anywhere. But if WWE offers me the good, big hunk of cheese more than Prime would, yeah, I'm going to go with them. Yeah, I don't know how that court case got settled. Whether Rob Lowe listened to people who knew or make it a business transaction. Oh, you're with Schneider? Okay. You with Pumpkin. They don't quite call him Pumpkin anymore, but they did way back in the day when I rode with my father. But I don't know how that court case went because Rob Lowe was suing Amazon for using the word Prime and have it on the side of their trucks. Me, if I was going to win that case, I would have made a transaction out of it and told Bezos, I said, hey, Bezos, get your billionaire ass in here. I'll tell you what, I'll drop everything in the court case. You sign a 25-year contract, we haul your freight. And only us. I would have made it a business transaction instead of a way of making millions. That way, not only I benefit, my drivers benefit too for the freight. But that's just me. I know how to do business. The slow function patch. Well, Schneider was nothing but orange. Their trucks and trailers. And up until about, I think it was 10 years ago, maybe, they started using different colored trucks and different colored trailers. But that's how they got their nickname, because their trucks and the trailers were orange. And before, I think it was like the late 80s, They had the biggest cab overs in the business. Schneider did, and they were the most widely. That company strictly mostly had nothing but cab overs at one time. Schneider. They were those big cab overs with the flat floor without the doghouse in between the seats. But they're having a good time there in the Philippines. I kind of wish I would have went with Darren, but I would have had to have flown home yesterday if I had went because I can only spend 3 or 4 days. When I go over there, you want to go over there for 3 or 4 weeks. Yeah, the color of your truck is very important, and it's very expensive to get a repaint. I thought Swift's main office was in Virginia or North Carolina. I can't remember. Along I-95 there. That's where I thought their main office was. Yeah, Prime. We got three major yards. Springfield's the number one, and then it would go to Salt Lake City and then Princeton, Pennsylvania. But when Prime took over, Jim Palmer, Henderson, and Wilson, we had yards in Missoula, Montana. There was one in Illinois. I can't remember the Salem, Illinois. I think it was. I never got to go to those yards though. But Jim Palmer, those trucks are long gone. There's no Jim Palmer anymore. There's no Hendersons anymore. They've all been long gone. O&S disappeared. Believe it or not, one of the first companies that Prime acquired way back in the day was BLC, and there's a couple of those guys left. They still have BLC on the side of their truck. But Prime took over a lot of trucking companies. I came to Prime when they had just acquired O&S. Or no, not O&S. Yeah, it was O&S. I was with Prime for not even a year, and they had acquired O&S. And then a couple years later, they acquired Henderson. Now that one was tough. That's when Prime doubled in size when they took over Henderson. But we lost a lot of people in the process, including fleet managers. I lost my fleet manager because of that deal. Because they were told, the fleet managers, you dispatch the Henderson drivers first, then your drivers. And my dispatcher was like, no. I said, it's our guys that made this company. Why should we roll the carpet out for some acquired drivers from a company that failed? I remember picking up some of those Henderson trailers before we got rid of them. We got rid of them really quick whenever we acquire a trucking company. But those Henderson trailers, man, belonged in a junkyard. Every one of them. They were awful. There was always something wrong with one of their trailers. I'm like, dude, man, I got a bad noise coming from the rear axle. And they said, all right, leave it there, unhook, go over here, pick up this load. I'm like, okay, cool. Because a lot of their equipment was just downright awful. Yeah, Henderson was a very, shit company. And a lot of companies that are acquired are usually in bad shape. Falcon was another one that was in bad shape, but I don't know who acquired them, or they just went under. But Swift acquired Celadon, which was a good move because Celadon had a lot of big yards. They had that big one in Indianapolis. Yeah, Henderson was also refrigerated. I remember, I think it was 3 years ago, or no, between 3 or 4 or 5 years ago, Swift acquired Central. And that was hilarious because all those Central drivers, man, they were like, nah, I'm not driving for Swift. I had a couple of friends that drove for Central, and they were acquired by Swift. I'll never forget that. It was a few years before they acquired Celadon. I'll never forget that one. And then I believe Knight was acquired by Swift also, or I could be wrong. Knight Transport is pretty big. Yeah, a lot of people went to Western Express. They expanded a bit. I don't know too much about them. I only had one colleague that I know that went to Western Express. Whether he's still there or not, I have no idea. His name is Tanner. And he drove for Celadon, and when they went under, he went to Western Express. But like I've been trying to tell everybody, I said this many years ago. I said within the next 10 years, there's only going to be very few trucking companies. About more than half the companies you know of today are not going to be around then. Shit. There's only about 3 companies that are still around from when I was a kid, and 2 of those merged. I remember when there was Yellow and Roadway, and they merged, I think in the 90s. I could be wrong, but I remember when they were separate. And Schneider was around when I was a kid, and so was ABF. But all the other companies that existed then are all gone. There's one that's reminiscent, like Central Transport. You look at their logo, and it looks identical to Cornflake. That was Consolidated Freight back in the day. They had those tiny day cab overs. It almost looked like a trailer moving down the highway. There wasn't much to the truck at all. Oh, okay. Knight was acquired by Swift. Okay. I know that's their latest transaction that just recently happened a couple years ago. Yeah. They're the yellow trucks. They got day cab Pete's. And when you look at the logo, it's black. But the design of the logo is just like Consolidated Freight from back in the day. Yeah, they called them Cornflake back then. But when I was a kid, I remember Pi still existed. And that was the biggest trucking company then. P.I.E. My dad drove for Murphy Motor Freight out of St. Paul, Minnesota. That's their home office, but he drove out of Chicago and Ohio in his career. But when Murphy Motor Freight went under, I think that was in '87. Usually when the founding father passes away of a trucking company, the sons get it, or a son, and they run it right into the ground. And there's 2 trucking companies in particular that I'm surprised that are still hanging on. And Werner is one of them. Werner was supposed to go under a long time ago because the sons were running it into the ground. But there was some angel investor that came in and saved that company. Because I remember it was already in the talks that they were going under, and Rob Lowe was wanting to buy the Werner yard down the street on Glenstone in Springfield, Missouri. That never happened. That would have been nice. Yeah, J.B. Hunt was around when I was a kid too. But they mostly went to strictly intermodal. In '87, when Murphy Motor Freight went under, that was Union Teamsters. Because my dad had sold the truck back in '76. It was shortly before Elvis passed. I was real little then. I wasn't even in kindergarten yet. And Dad sold the truck. Oh, I think we got somebody here. I've been keeping it going there for you.
I'm still live.
Oh, that's Deborah Orad.
I'm still live.
Hey, Deborah, I should be there. I was supposed to be there with Darren. Okay, they're frozen again, guys, so I'll just continue what I was saying. After Murphy went under in '87, my dad and all of his friends went over to ABF. and that's where the rest of them ended their career was with ABF.
He's in Bohol right
Mhm.
Yeah, I texted him. So, because now we have a Philippine phone number. So as long as the Wi-Fi is good.
Nainin ko na kasi ano eh. Nag-ano, namamatay.
Ah, damn it! I mean, that was Deborah Orat. I never get to talk to her. Yeah, I heard that before I went to sleep last. Well, it's 2 in the morning now, but before I went to sleep last night, that went across my newsfeed that Lisa Marie Presley died of a heart attack. There's no freaking way. That was from the booster shot. Just like a lot of these athletes, the one from Buffalo, that wasn't what they said it was, but they made sure that they were trying to make sure that the vaccine wasn't being blamed for it, and it was. The vaccine, not en masse, but it's getting there. A lot of people getting the vaccine that's causing blood clots. I'm glad I don't need it because I'm asymptomatic. But that's a shocker. Lisa Marie Presley passed away. I think it was less than 8 hours ago when I got the news. Now that I didn't know either. Jeff Beck? It's like people are dropping all over the freaking place. Yeah, the ABF is Teamsters, yes. Now, it's still good, but it's not as good as it once was. Like when my dad, he was forced to retire in 99 because he got cancer. Um, when he when he drove for ABF then, he was home every other night and on the weekends. Okay? He would always get the choice between going to like Port Huron, Du Bois, Pennsylvania. See, they'd give him a choice. They'd call him, you want Du Bois or Port Huron? Sometimes he'd get a Cedar Rapids, Iowa. And towards the end of his career, he was getting St. Clair or St. Charles, somewhere in Missouri. It's near St. Louis. I can't remember. It's St. something. It's not St. Louis. It's St. something else. But that's where my dad ended his career going there. And he was out 8 hours and he came back in 8 hours. So my dad was home every other night and on the weekends. And he was getting $1.28 a mile. This was in 1999. But see, they went to a tier system. They did that on purpose. They made sure that the younger generation coming up was not going to make the same amount of money as the older generation. That's where unions failed, and they should have known that. Giving them a tier system like that, where the younger generation makes less, with inflation going up and companies making even more money, and they had the best medical benefits in the country. You went to the doctor, you paid like a $5 to a $10 copay, and that's all you paid out of pocket. That's it. Everything was covered 100%. They had the best insurance in the country. I don't think they have that kind of insurance anymore, medical insurance anymore. Medical insurance is nothing but legalized fraud anyway. It's not designed to help you. It's designed for the insurance company to make a shitload of money, and you have substandard coverage and substandard medical treatment. That's why our medical system's broken in this country, and it's shit. Doctors and nurses are overly worked. They don't get paid like they should. The ones that are ending up with all this money are your insurance CEOs who do absolutely nothing. Ugh. 10 block. I don't know who that is, Brett. Something tells me I should know who that is, but I don't. Yeah, no, $1.28 a mile, not 28. $1.28 a mile is what my dad made. Full medical benefits. I mean, it was awesome. Hi, Celestial. I haven't seen you in ages, darling. Yeah, well, I remember Prime. I had my medical insurance through them. I paid $378 dollars and 27 cents a month for full coverage insurance for me and my 4 kids. When they passed the Affordable Health Care Act, okay, they sat us all down there at the in Springfield, right there by the cafeteria, and they were showing me the paperwork. You can keep the same medical insurance that you have right now, but it's $1,378.27. And I looked at the lady and I'm like, ma'am, I know you're not a heavy hitter in this and you're not in charge of this. I said, but they passed the Affordable Health Care Act, and I waved my hand over the pages and said, where did the affordable part come in for me? She couldn't answer that question. I said, you mean to tell me they passed the Affordable Health Care Act and they tack on $1,000 a month on me? And you want to, or I can go to, like, I could pay $800, but I have to pay like a $2,500. I got to pay $2,500 for the insurance to kick in. I forgot that word I'm looking for. Or I could pay like $400 a month and pay, anywhere between $8,000 to $15,000 before insurance kicks in. I said, this is legalized fraud, is what it is. Everybody heard me in the cafeteria. They all shut up, was listening. I'm like, this is legalized fraud, folks. You're more than welcome to come over here and sign up for this insurance if you want to, but I wouldn't. It's legalized fraud. You're giving them your money for nothing, and they do absolutely nothing for you. Oh, deductible. That's what I'm looking for. If you pay like $800 a month, you were paying a $2,500 deductible. You got to pay that before the insurance kicks in. Or you could pay like $400 and change a month, but you got to pay anywhere between $8,000 to $15,000 deductible. I'm like, this is freaking fraud. I'm like, no, this is designed to make a shitload of money where the insurance ain't got to pay out nothing. We're supporting the lifestyles of the CEOs and the boards of directors of major insurance companies. That's what we're doing. So they can float around on their yacht, not have to work a day in their life and not worry about a damn thing, and everybody else is struggling. No, we need to throw these people overboard and get with people that are actually doing things. That's why you have doctors now. They don't take insurance. They just have you sign up for them. Like, okay, we're going to charge you like $140 a month, and you get all this coverage, and you just pay us directly. See, the doctors are getting smart. They're eliminating the insurance companies. Oh, she opened a new live stream? Okay, we'll try to go over there then. Sorry, guys. I'm going to move over there. I'm going to go over there, Celestial.